Hello, everyone. This is Coach Vanda here, or I should say your friend Vanda as well. And today I have such a great honor and pleasure to be here. One of my great client, friend, amazing top producer that I wanted to bring here for you guys. And it's a pleasure to introduce you guys, the superstar, super inspiring, super productive, Rob Depaoli.
Hey, Vanda, how's it going?
How are you?
I'm doing great. Just working from the house this week, so
Yes.
phone calls and trying to make the most of it. So
Wonderful. Excited to be here with you this beautiful Monday with everything going on, the coronavirus. So we're happy, excited to have you here and being an inspiration. And also, so Rob, let's get this show started. Super grateful to have you. Why don't you introduce yourself? Let us know where you're from, where you're working, your real estate agent. Tell us a little bit about your production. Tell us about yourself.
sure. So I'm Rob Depaoli. I'm down in Manhattan Beach, California. I work for Sotheby's down here, and I'm 31 years old right now. I started in real estate when I was 23 years old. Started 6 months as an assistant and then went off on my own when I was 23, almost 24. So I started really young and had a great experience starting off cold calling and all that jazz. And right now I run a team of, there's 5 of us total. So it's myself, 2 other agents, 2 assistants, and then transaction coordinator and some other support staff. So we run kind of a smaller team down here in Manhattan Beach, and we do a lot of luxury home sales. Our average price is in between 1.5 million, is kind of towards the lower end of our sales, all the way up to 6, 7, 10 million is kind of our range. So we also do a lot of development and apartment buildings and all that. So not only are we representing people, but we're doing it in-house as well, investing and flipping and all that. So we have a lot of fun down here.
Awesome. Boy, you're very busy, right?
Very busy. Very busy.
I know you've been doing for a while, and it's succeeding in high level. So I wrote some great questions here for you. I can't wait to ask you because
Okay.
I know you have so much to share. So when you started, you said at 23, right?
23, yeah.
What are you doing then? What was working? What's not working? And then when you started creating some momentum, tell us about your before time.
Sure. Well, I had a good experience working with a top producing agent. So I had a general idea of how the business works and what to do to get sales going and all that. But when I went off on my own, I had started working with an older gentleman by the name of Jim on his team. And so I had the first agent I work with, and I had Jim, who I started working with. I had a general idea of what to do, but I really just picked up the phone and tried to call as many people as I could every single day, and try to figure out someone that would talk to a 23-year-old about $1 million real estate in Los Angeles. So it did take me a while to get some traction. My first year, I think I closed $35,000 in commission, and the second year was about $70,000 in gross commission. So I had a little taste of success early on, but once I got through my second year, I met Vanda through her then coaching program, Tom Ferry, and that's when my business really changed.
Yes, well, thank you for saying that. Now, yeah, you're doing some things that are working, but a lot of things were not working. Tell us about, what was working, what was not working? Did you have structure? Did you have systems? Did you have routine? How was your business looking like? You earning what, $70,000, right? At the time?
70,000 when I first met you. Yes. When I was 24 years old. So my first couple of years in the business, I really didn't have a plan or anything like that. I was just kind of running with it, trying to figure out who the buyers were and who the sellers were. And I really was just a salesperson at that point. And once I started coaching with Vanda, I started to realize this is more about running a business than trying to make sales. So when I was 25, the first thing she did was put me on a schedule and provided some structure for myself and accountability. And that's when right away, really pretty much, I think, right in the first 6 months is when the whole deal kind of changed for me. And I think the following 3 or 4 years, I doubled my business from the 70,000 a year. So yeah, structure and accountability was the biggest thing that changed my career.
Right. So let me see. I understand, and thank you for being honest here with us. Yeah, you didn't have a plan. You didn't have a structure. You didn't have systems. You didn't have a daily plan. Is it true?
I had nothing. Yep. I was just floating around. So
I remember 25 years old. I remember. And then we put a plan together, a daily plan in place. You had a structure, and you would be, since then you've been doubling your business every year, right? Even more than that.
Yes.
So tell us now, so what changes? So you told me what changed. You got structure, you got some plan, you got a routine. So if you look back now, how you had before and now, tell us about your routine now. Tell us about, do you have a plan now? Or tell us about.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. I think along with accountability and having a plan, it's being more intentional. You and I talk about that a lot. And, I still do sometimes get a little scattered and get a little off focus with I have a lot of travel going on and social events. So that's being more intentional with everything I'm doing on a daily basis is super important as well. So I think it was, a month ago, Vanda had me write down everything I was doing from, for 7 days straight, Monday through Sunday, from waking up to going to sleep, what I was doing during those periods of time. And that was the first week I had set over 10 appointments. I got 14 appointments in 7 days.
Wow.
Really 5 days of working and calling, and 14 appointments in that time span. And I sold, it was about $250,000 in commission in 14 days. So, of course I haven't done that every single week since then, but I'm thinking about bringing it back and doing it every single week. And so thank you for that. That's something I should be doing every week.
Awesome. Well, first of all, thank you for saying that. Now, you have been implementing a lot of things. You're very savvy, you're very coachable, and you run everything by your coach that I know really well.
Right. Most things.
Most things, I should say, most things, right? So you made a lot of transition, a lot of change, a lot of improvement. You went from, 70,000 to 300 to 400, 600, right? Now we're on track. Right now you're on track for 1,050,000.
That's right. Yep.
You just had one of the best, I believe you closed $350,000 in the month of December alone. And now you're having a great, new quarter, and you just sold a home yesterday, wrote an offer
today, listing appointment Thursday. Yeah. So, and it's important right now. One of the things we talk about, it's important right now to really look at who you're working with. And I think with everything that's going on, people really need to focus on who's motivated and who's not motivated. I got, agents in the office are asking me what's going on with my business and all that. And my most sophisticated, wealthy real estate clients are chomping at the bit to buy some things right now because the interest rates are so low. And, people that are kind of on the fence about buying are probably going to be even more so on the fence in the next 4 to 8 weeks. But there are still people out there that have to move, that have to make offers, and that brokerage doesn't stop when the economy does. People still have to do things. So,
isn't it true? I love the mindset, Rob. I love it. I love it. So, Rob, you're saying, I had no structure, and then I decided, as I, start coaching with my coach, that this is a business. Of course, I understand what you meant. I still have to sell, but I have to run this as a business and being proactive and have a structure. So, tell us here for the wonderful warriors that are watching, all these great salespeople that are watching with us, because sometimes they say, the people who are succeeding at a high level, they're not making that many calls. They're not really lead generation, lead follow-up. Some people think this is only from the mouth out, that you're really not doing the prospecting, that you're really not having the morning routine. So can you walk us here? Because I would love for them to hear, your morning routine. What do you do for the time you wake up to 10:30, like we talked about? I mean, like you always tell me too, and I ask you too. What's your morning routine, and how do you shake the listing threes, the buyers three, and the money three, darling? share here with us.
Sure. I wake up generally 5:30 to 6 a.m. somewhere in there every morning, and have to work out before I start in the office. It's something you need to get out of the way, and it sets the tone for your day. The days that I don't work out before before I start making my calls, I don't have as much energy. I'm not as positive. I'm generally a pretty positive person, but if I don't get my exercise in the morning, the whole rest of the day is a little bit off. So exercise is the big item. Reviewing goals is the other, something that I do for 5 minutes every morning before I start work. And that just, again, is setting the tone for the rest of your day. I think, the last 4 years I've been pretty much within last year was a little bit more of a spread, but I was within like $10,000 of my goal, the 3 years prior to that. So, having that top of mind where you're going is kind of your roadmap for the year.
Right.
I also have a little bit of time to read, think about something other than real estate, just to expand kind of your way of thinking and all that. And I generally make a list of everybody I want to call. If it's not the night before, it's the morning of. I make a list of 10 people that I want to connect with.
Right. So Rob, you do say what your coach asks you to do? You do? Do you?
I do, yes. Well, when I do really do it, it's incredibly effective. When I don't, I see that my momentum shifts. So I don't have as much momentum when I don't do that every day. It's the most important part of the day is the morning before 10:30. So
I would like to share. I understand, and you are doing it, and you track your numbers, right? So you track your numbers.
Yes, absolutely.
You know how many conversations you have. You know how many appointments you have. Is it true, or is it if it's only a dream?
Nope. No, we track our numbers every week. We go over them. Yes.
Right. Now, there was a moment last year that we are not coaching together, and I'm not saying this to make any point against anything or anybody, but I just want to emphasize here the power of intention and the power of accountability, that for a while we didn't coach together, right? Mm-hmm. We were separated for about 7-8 months for some situation that was not possible. And right. you didn't have accountability. You didn't have the intention every day to follow a plan. And what happened? Because, this is such an important point, because many times people say, oh, I know what to do. I got it. So I don't need that high accountability because I'm holding myself accountable. I know what to do. But then they don't follow the plan. They don't have the intention, and they lose momentum, they lose track, and they derail. So last year we were not coaching together for a while, and you didn't have structure and accountability. So just, can you share here what happened? Because you told me, and we came back working together, and it was a big difference. I just want to.
Sure, absolutely. Well, I think you know me better than I know you know me better than most people out there, especially new business coaches and all that. But you had, to the time I was about 30 years old, to where we kind of took a break there for a minute. I was producing at a very high level, and I was buying properties, flipping properties, developing properties. And when I had shifted off that and was with another coach for a little bit, my conversations were supportive, but it wasn't pushing me to go to the next level, which is kind of what it takes to elevate yourself in this business. Is you have to have someone kind of kicking you in the butt a little bit. So my conversations, I still went over everything I was doing. It was almost like more of a supportive approach. And with you, you know how to kick me in the butt a little bit, and when I slack. And I kind of need that push, because I do tend to take my pedal off the metal when I have a good month or two. So, but it's the consistency that creates momentum, and that's what ultimately creates a great year instead of a couple good months.
Right. So structure, accountability. So you've been working on that. You've been doing that. So there was moment that you say, gosh, can I really do that? Can I really earn $1 million? So now you're on track. You're on track. We look at your numbers.
Yep.
And we know that even with coronavirus, no coronavirus, you're going to keep walking. You're going to keep doing it. And right now you're having a fantastic quarter. You stay focused. And so how do you keep that energy, And then what are you doing to keep yourself going?
stay on task, stay on schedule, and try to separate your personal life and your business life as much as possible, even though residential real estate, they can kind of intertwine. But one of the things, when I go off my schedule, I tend to get exhausted because I am doing a lot of things socially and I'm trying to do it all with work. But one of the most important things with having a schedule is having personal time and time to rest, and not just run around and do all your showings and listing appointments, contracts, emails, phone calls, texts. It's been really helpful for me to turn my phone off after 8 p.m. I try to do that 3 times a week, turn my phone off altogether after 8 p.m. so I can have some personal time away from servicing clients and helping people. So
awesome. I love it. And so you have been looking at, and I know when we had you track your whole week, you knew you were going to report to your coach. So you're doing, even the days that you couldn't do your lead generation in the morning because you had a golf tournament, you made up afternoon.
That's right. Yep.
Remember? So when you're focused and you did, okay, you knew you were going to report on the hour to the hour, whole week to your coach, your production went up, your focus went up in intention, and you just kicked ass. Oh my gosh, you sold so many homes, you got 14 appointments, was awesome. And now you're more intentional. Even though you're not giving to your coach every week what you're doing, you're way more intentional about your time, aren't you?
Absolutely. 100%.
I'm
going to start writing it down this week after, actually it's Monday. We'll do it for the next call.
And you talk about
yeah. And you're not telling me what to say and all this, but I can honestly say, we spend a lot of money on marketing and all that stuff. Having you as my coach is the best money that my most effective money that I spend in our budget. So
thank you. It's a good investment, right? Thank you. I love coaching you. We've been coaching together for almost 5 years, right?
5 years. Yep.
Wonderful. We don't tiny little break. So now looking back, before I ask you more great questions, I want to talk about also a little bit of your lead sources. Looking back, what do you wish you would have maybe done sooner?
Right. So if I had to do it all over again, when I started off on my own at 23 years old, I was kind of dabbling into spending some money on marketing on Zillow, and I think I did Boomtown for a little bit, which are really expensive ways to get leads. But what happened is I was getting leads, but I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't have a plan or how to talk to them, or once I didn't know how to categorize a lead and all that jazz. So I ended up spending a lot of money for marketing and for leads specifically, but I didn't know how to service them because my skills weren't there yet. So if I had to do it all over, I would definitely start off with coaching. And as a new agent, I wouldn't spend much money at all on marketing until you just hold some open houses and you start to get a feel for the business. And having a coach that has been in the business for a long time and is coaching a lot of clients will, instead of creating this kind of growth, it will kind of be more of a hockey stick type of growth for newer agents that are learning the business.
Yeah, no, I appreciate what you're saying. It's so true, because a lot of people say, I want more leads, I want more leads, I want more leads. And then they don't know how to convert the leads. They don't have the skills to convert in follow up and presenting and handle rejection. And then they lose all the leads and they still fail, right? And they spend a lot of money. So yeah, sometimes we learn the hard way, but right now you do very well. You have an amazing database, a lot of people that you know, and you do Zillow. And you do a lot of networking with builders, with attorneys. Yeah, so you've been killing it with your database and everything. So those 3 lead sources works really well for you, right?
Absolutely. Yep. My database is number one by far. So, and there's so much more I can do with it. And that's the exciting part about where I'm at right now is I know we talk about it all the time. There's so much more I can do with it. And it's exciting. It's exciting.
So Rob, again, you'd be amazed how many people think we just talk about this. Some people are not really doing. So when I say you guys don't know, can you guys post stuff on social media? So would you tell us a story that you put a post on Instagram and you had so many, a huge impact. so many response, and then you connected people. Didn't you get like 2 transactions out of that post? Can you share with us? It was such a great story.
I did. It was a house we had remodeled, and I just posted a couple before and after photos, and I got 2 clients off of it, 2 sales within 8 weeks off of a post. And I knew the power of social media and being connected to everyone, and how, I knew that was a thing, but I didn't realize how quickly that can happen with real estate. Everybody out there without a license is a potential customer. And if you have a good following on Instagram or Facebook, you're able to get to those people all at once really quickly. So that was pretty powerful. Posting that is very important. I need to do more of it. I know I'm sluggish on it, but when I do it, I see incredible feedback. I got 2 new clients off that, and I think it was 45 direct messages, DMs from people that are in my sphere of influence and all that. And then I've got a couple stories. You talked a little bit about door knocking. I don't do a ton of door knocking, but a couple of years ago when I was a little bit, slower at the time, I had a great client looking for a $3 million house, like a Cape Cod. And I was in a neighborhood, and I just noticed a house across the street from one that we were building. I dropped a note. I said, "Hey, your house looks exactly what my client's looking for. Give me a call if you guys are interested in selling." They ended up calling me and said, "Hey, we're actually looking for a bigger house." And long story short, out of dropping that note off on the house, I got a $3 million listing and a $4.7 million purchase from them in just a couple months. So,
isn't it? In a couple of months.
Stay out there.
Exactly. So, I love when you share the stories, because there's a lot of people out there, my dear friend, that, I'm not going to door knock. I'm like, guys and gals, warriors, even dropping some flyers, drop some flyers in front of people. And I remember you, Rob, that you dropped that note, and the lady called you back, and you had, the amazing listing, the amazing sale from dropping a flyer. And I tell everybody, my first listing ever in my career, it was from dropping a flyer in my neighborhood.
Right.
And you do that. We also do those letters, I have a buyer for your home. So you have right now at least 6 lead sources that you work really well, that you consistently shake the listing through. Isn't that correct?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah. So you are tracking your numbers. You have a morning routine. You exercise. I know you do also some gratitude, and I know you do your lead generation, the follow up. You do your calls, your coach, your team. So you're doing so much great stuff. So how is Rob doing this and doing the top producing activities, and you still, helping with the team? Tell us about the team. I mean, the team is growing and they're strong. I know you told us here you don't want to grow that big, but tell us a little bit how you're doing with the whole team.
Sure. So I have Jim that I work with. He's been doing it for 43 years. So we're partners, and he does a lot of sales and development. And we hired a guy by the name of Marco DeLongville. He's a great agent. He's got into the business about 2 years ago, and his first year in the business, I think he did $75,000 in commission. He knows a lot of people, very friendly, and just kind of needed a little bit of direction. So, I kind of used what I've learned from Vanda. And in his second year, he did $475,000 gross commission. In his second year in Manhattan Beach, which is one of the more competitive markets in the country. And this year he's tracking to do about $600,000 in his third year.
Here goes a coach. Woohoo!
Yeah, exactly.
I'm
so
proud of you, because you see, you're doing something that is so amazing. You are doing transfer your skills. You learn with your coach, you improve yourself, and then you transfer the skill to your team. You've been recruiting, you've been coaching. So I want to congratulate you for that. It's a lot of great stuff. Yeah, you do door knock when you need to. You have an amazing amount of business. You're setting about between 5 to 6 appointments regularly right now per week, right, Rob?
at least, yeah.
At least. So what is next for you, darling? What you going to do next? What do you see in terms of the future here for the next year, 2 years?
Well, I'd like to get, I don't see the team going over 10, but I'd like to have maybe 5 or 6 agents total and 2 to 3 full-time assistants for the agents, marketing, running the team and all that. So that's kind of where I see myself in the next 3 years. And I really use our brokerage sales as a vehicle to buy property, rental property, renovation project.
Right now, I'm so proud of you.
Yeah.
Since we're working together, you got a new car, you know, nice Tesla, you bought property, you have saved a lot of money, and you're doing great. So how many properties you have right now, superstar?
I have 4 properties right now, and I just bought my 5th. So it's a combination of apartment buildings and single family Airbnb investments. So
nice.
It's fun. So yeah, very fortunate.
Very fortunate. You work hard for it. You work hard. You really invest in yourself and your time and energy. You know, I congratulate you for that. And you know, talking about just quickly here, you know, you're doing so well in your database. Do you contact your database? A lot of realtors, a lot of agents, they're like, oh, I don't want to call my database. I don't want to bother them. They have this thing in their head that the database, you know, doesn't want to hear from them. And of course, what we work on about value contribution. So tell us here a little bit, how do you manage your database, superstar?
Well, I think people don't want to bug their clients, but if you deliver information in a way where it's not encroaching on what they're doing on a daily basis, that's really the trick. One of the things I've learned from holding open houses recently is agents are far too aggressive at the open houses. And at least in our area, people are really sophisticated. They've got a lot of money. They run their own businesses. There's a lot of information on the internet now, and a lot of people don't want a salesperson to help them. They want an advisor. They want someone that's partnering with them, and where someone can ask about a property and they're not going to get sold right away on buying that property. It's going to, you know, they're going to ask you about a property and what you think about it and why you think it's worth X and what it's worth if, you know, you do X and X renovation. So to answer your question about keeping in touch with clients, I think the most important thing there is to add value. We talk about adding value when you talk to clients, and if you're adding value to them, people want to know what's going on. It's when they have an asset that's $2, $3, $4, $5 million, they're going to want to know how the market is, and that stuff's going to all be interesting to them. So if you can identify a way to deliver information that adds value to the client, that's the best way to do it. So yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, you appreciate that. You know, yeah, it's all about becoming the trusted advisor, right?
That's right. And sometimes what I should, you know, I become very close with a lot of my clients, and talking about real estate isn't always the best thing to do when you call someone. You can call someone and just see how they're doing, and 80% of the time they'll probably ask about real estate. So that's a strategy I have in open house, as well as I try to get to know people before you start going into the real estate pitch.
And you also introduce new things that we part of our system that we use with the database. You start having some events with your database, right? Creating that connection or appreciation, like an appreciation party. Didn't you have a big one not long ago?
Yes, we have 2 big events a year. One's at Christmas time, and then one during the summer. And I would like to do more of that this year, because you get a lot of momentum off of those events. So usually we'll get anywhere from 4 to 10 referrals per event we do, and there's about 100 to 150 people that go usually. So, and it could be a wine night, or wine night at a local restaurant, or usually we do it at a restaurant, a big wine event. So, and then I take clients out to sports events and all that stuff too. So
yeah, no, I know you're awesome in networking. So what would some of the facts, some of the things that you really would say that the biggest factor in your success, Super Rob?
I think being genuine when you work with people, being genuine and not being pushy. So I think that a lot of real estate agents, I think it's a tough business, and I think that people operate, they can operate out of desperation sometimes, and consumers can see that right away. And as soon as someone sees that or feels that they're being pressured to do something that maybe they're not ready for, then you got no shot with working at them. They will ignore your calls, they'll ignore your texts, they'll ignore your emails. But really, I think that comes down with role playing. I mean, role playing and practicing what your message is to people when you meet them. So we'll just use, open house for an example. I did an open house recently. There was 60 people that came through, and I would say 80 to 90% of them right away, before I even said a word, just did not want to talk to the agent. And that's because they probably went through 5 other open houses and they got followed around the house and all that stuff. So role playing and figure out a way to bring each one of those people value when they walk in is the most effective way to make connections with people, in my opinion.
Awesome.
Be genuine. So
awesome. Be genuine. So one of the biggest factors. Do you consider yourself coachable? I mean, did you during the process? How was to change from no structure, no system, no numbers, no tracking? Now, are you prepared? Do you look at your numbers every week? Do you prepare for your call? Do you follow your plan? Tell us a little bit about your mindset of the businessman now, because you're not a hobbyist anymore. You're not winging anymore. I mean, you are on the mission. Tell us about that.
right. Yes, I would consider myself coachable. I was always, like I said earlier, there's always room for improvement, and I do get distracted. I think, I had 12 weddings and 6 bachelor parties last year. So sometimes when I go through those streaks of a lot of social events, it's even more important that I stay on task and on schedule, because if you drop what you're doing for 2 weeks or, a long period of time where you're not hitting the same amount of phone calls that you usually do, you're going to feel it. You're going to feel it on your production in 2 or 3 months. So I definitely, yes, consider myself coachable, but always room to get better. I think you know that, though.
Awesome. I know you have done that. So you have done a lot. You'll be now a team leader. You now coaching a team. You have staff, and they like you. They stay with you for a while because, and you've been day by day helping them to grow and get better.
Right.
And, before I ask you my last question, how these wonderful people here can reach out to you and can talk to you and find you on social media or any other place?
Sure, absolutely. Well, my phone number is 310-896-5343. If anyone's running a similar team and ever wants to chat, have questions about hiring, managing people, love to talk. I'm probably most active on my Instagram, and my Instagram handle is kind of funny. Champagne Bobby is the name of the Instagram, and I try to mix in real estate and social and all that. And then I've got a team account. It's VZD Group. It's at VZD Group, and we run all of our real estate projects and sales and everything we're up to in real estate on that account. And then my email, feel free to reach out to Vanda for my email if you'd like to be a part of our referral database. I have one of my best friends is a financial advisor for over 30 professional athletes, and I do manage all their real estate across the country. So if someone's buying a house in Miami, it generally goes through me, and I manage the agent in that area and help with the process. So if you'd like to be on our referral list, definitely reach out to Vanda for the email, and love to be in touch.
Thank you. 2 quick questions before we go. What would be an advice you'd give to the young Rob? Anything actually you would like to tell young Rob if you had a chance?
Any advice to me? Trust the process is kind of cliche, but trust the process. I think I'm doing very well with where I'm at right now, but if I was more consistent with it, even more consistent with it early on, and all that, I could be even, I could be even a different place. So I'm happy with where I'm at now, but every day I see as an opportunity to get better and be more consistent and organized. So
now you're going to talk to all the new agents or people who maybe are struggling right now or coming back to the business, or people who also been succeeding. What would be your final advice to everyone listening to you here, my darling?
My final advice would be everybody out there is a potential client. So be nice to people. Even in non-real estate situations, be a good person, and you'd be surprised at what comes back years down the road. People remember you, or you have a client that knows someone that you interacted with in a different area of life, and you always want to keep your reputation strong with everybody in the public, not just with your clients. So, and that goes back to being genuine and a kind person. And generally when you do that, things end up pretty great. So, okay.
Well, I have to say thank you. What a beautiful words. You know, I hope everyone can see here how genuine he is, how authentic he is. You know, such an honor and a pleasure and one of my biggest proud to be your coach, to be your friend for so long, and to see you succeed in a high level. And you are such a beautiful energy, such a beautiful inspiration. I had requests to have you here. I had people say, hey, would you interview Rob? Would you interview Rob? We love his energy. He's such a cool guy. So I had to bring you here to share your energy, your inspiration, your strength, your focus with everybody else, because you are doing a great job and you're going to go far, my friend. You're going to go far. I want to say thank you for being here with us.
Absolutely.
Been a pleasure. It's been a pleasure. I know that you're going to keep growing, that you're going to keep being the leader and leading not only your team and helping other agents to grow. So it's been an honor, my friend. You are amazing. So keep it up. Listen to your coach.
That's right. That's right. Thank you so much, V. I appreciate everything you do. So thank you very much.
Thank you, darling. I'll see you tomorrow. Thank you very much for being here. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.